Hi guys, so I'm a couple of minutes late. My GCSE session ran over, but I am here now, so I'm going to give you a few minutes to join in while I'm setting up. So today's session is going to be on maths, and if you've just logged in for the first time onto my channel, this is Sid, and I am running the Learn with Sid channel, and we're going to be looking at recipe ratios today. So let's see if people are logged in and are watching. Yes, I am live. We've got people watching. Brilliant, guys. Okay, so today's session, we are looking at maths. You're going to need two A5 pieces of paper. To be fair, with this particular task, you can do it on any size paper. So as long as you've got some paper, I'm running out of A4 paper, so I've got lots of A5 lying around. So I'm going to be using this today. You're also going to need some felt pens. So let me just go grab mine because they're just around the corner. So I've got these felt tips. I've got some more felt tips over here. Okay, so I'm going to be using these. And you're going to need a pencil. So I've got a pencil over here. Okay, so today's session, we're looking at ratios. So you might have come across this before. You might not have come across this before. But we use ratios in everyday life, especially if you're cooking. So if you are a cook, you're actually a mathematician as well, because you're learning how to use ratios, especially if you have to cook for more than the amount of people that your recipe is for. So we're going to be learning how we can actually adjust a recipe to enable us to make, well, in our case, we're going to look at cake, to make cake for more than the number of people initially that the cake is designed for. Okay, guys, so what I need you to do is to grab your pieces of paper and your felt tips. I'm going to share my desk right now, so just give me a second, and then we're going to get ready to go with the lesson. So keep sending in your work, because I love seeing it. And also, if you are loving what we're doing on YouTube, we have got some paid courses coming up in science and maths. So we've got a science camp and we've got a maths camp. So if you're interested in that, leave some, send me a note in the comment section, or email me, or get in contact with me, and I'll send you some details. So those are starting next week, and we're going to look in a lot more detail in each of the topics we've briefly touched on YouTube. So if you love the YouTube sessions, do sign up to that. Right, so I'm going to share with you my pieces of paper. Let me just adjust the lighting a bit there, because it looks really dark. I don't know whether got yellow lighting now, got blue lighting now. Okay, I think that's fine. Right, so what we're going to be doing is to create a recipe over here, and we're going to be baking a cake. So first of all, what I want you to do is we're going to turn our A5 piece of paper, first one on its side, and I'm going to create a recipe card. So we're going to draw a card over here, a recipe card, and I'm going to write on here what our recipe is for. So I'm going to bake a cake. Okay, so these might not be the exact ingredients for a cake, so do not use this for a real cake if you're going to make a cake. We've got Musa and Zaina are watching from Romford. You're watching again. You were watching yesterday, weren't you? So we're going to recipe for a cake. So I'm going to write on here recipe for a cake. So I'm going to write recipe for a cake. Okay, so this is going to be my recipe for a cake. So we're going to write down what we're going to need for the cake. So the first thing that we're going to be needing is going to be some flour. So I'm going to write here. Now I'm going to work in cups. I tend to work in cups when I'm doing stuff in the kitchen. So we're going to do 1.5 cups of flour. Okay, so what's 1.5 cups of flour? Well, a cup. Where's my black? I want a fine black pen to be able to do this bit. So let me find, I've got so many felt tip pens here. So we've got one, this is actually brown. Got 1 cup, more like a mug this is. So I'm going to draw on here what my cup's going to look like. Now my flour is actually grey, so if I find a grey colour. So this cup's right up to the top. I'm going to colour that in. Well, flour's actually white, but if we do it white, we're not going to be able to see. So we've got a 1 cup, and then we've got half a cup. Okay, so we've got 1.5 cups of flour. What else do we need? Well, we're going to need eggs. So next what I'm going to have on here is some eggs. So let me just use lots of color, guys, so it looks really nice. So we're going to have 2 eggs I'm going to place to bake my cake. Okay, and I'm going to draw my eggs. These are going to be my eggs. And we're going to talk about what kind of numbers these are in a second. So we've got 2 eggs. Okay, next what I'm also going to need is some sugar. Now, I don't want to put too much sugar in, so I'm going to put 1 cup of sugar. Now, I remember from when I used to bake cakes, I used to have the same amount of flour as I used to have sugar. I used to have a lot of sugar. But I'm going to put 1 cup of sugar. Okay, so I'm going to draw my little cups again. Now, sugar, what color sugar? It's white again. I might just color it in green just to give it a bit of color. So I'm going to draw a cup of sugar up to the top, more like a mug. I've got mugs here. These aren't cups. Okay, what else are we going to need? We've got our flour, we've got our eggs, we've got our sugar. We're going to need some margarine. Okay, now margarine we can't measure in cups. We measure margarine in grams. So I'm going to write on here some grams of margarine. So let me just see what color should I use now? I'm going to use blue. So I'm going to have 50 grams of margarine. I have no idea whether I've spelled margarine right. Is that how you spell margarine? Let me know, guys. I have no idea. If you've been watching my videos, you'll know that my spelling is awful. So margarine tub, I'm going to have a tub of margarine. So let's draw a tub of margarine. Margarine tubs are normally 250, I think you can get. So my 50 grams is going to be a very small amount of margarine. Okay, so there's my margarine. Right, and this is going to bake me 20 cupcakes. So I'm going to write here recipe or bakes 20 cupcakes. Right, so we're going to look at ratios now. So this is for 20 cupcakes. What happens if I've got lots of people coming to a party and I need to bake 40 cupcakes? Or I love my cupcakes so much that I'm going to bake 40. So if we want to bake 40 cupcakes, this is going to be multiplied by 2. Okay, so before we get onto that, let's have a look at what these numbers actually represent. Well, eggs, can we have half an egg? Well, if you're going to crack an egg, you're going to have to crack the egg fully. So with eggs, we can have 1 egg, or 2 eggs, or 3 eggs. Okay, so with eggs, I think my screen isn't fully shared with you, isn't it? So, oh, you can see the full screen. Okay, so 2 eggs here, this is a discrete number. So I'm going to write about the 2 different types of numbers I've got here. So my eggs are discrete. So I'm going to write discrete. And the other side is continuous. These are big words. So I'm going to explain to you what that means. Okay, my screen is bigger now. That's better, isn't it, guys? Right, so, and I think I spelled continuous wrong. I know I spelled continuous wrong. That's not how you spell continuous. That's completely wrong. So guys, if you're watching live, correct this because I know that's a spelling mistake, but I don't know what the answer is. Okay, so let's have a look at this then. 2 eggs, we can't have half an egg. We can't have a quarter of an egg. If you crack an egg, you have to crack it fully, okay? You have to include it fully. So on here, my eggs are discrete. You can only have whole numbers. I can't have half an egg. Well, you can have half an egg. You can eat half an egg, but if you're cracking it, it's very difficult to break it apart into little bits, okay? So eggs is discrete. But when you look at these cups of flour, you can have 1.25, which is 1 cup and a quarter cup of flour. You can have 51 grams. You can have 51.5 grams. You can have 51.3 grams. You can increase this in small amounts. So flour is a continuous measurement. Okay, so you can have a quarter of a cup, you can have a third of a cup, you can have 1.1 cups of flour. So you could divide your cup of flour into 10 bits and have just 1/10 of it. So flour is continuous. You can have it in all sorts of little chunks. Sugar, again, we're using cups. So this is also continuous measurement. Okay, and margarine, you can have 51 grams, you can have 52 grams, you can have 51.25 grams. So again, margarine is a continuous. Now, my only limitation is I can't divide the eggs up, okay? But I can double the amount of eggs, I can half the amount of eggs, because if I have 2 eggs here, I could have 1 egg, or I could have 3 eggs, or I could have 4 eggs. So when we're doing ratios, we have to look at what numbers we have. If we're talking about people, you can't have half a person, okay? If we're talking about your height, you can actually go up. It's continuous. You can go up in little parts. Right, so this is my recipe card to start off with. Now I'm going to be looking at what I can do with this recipe card to have more or less cakes, more or less cupcakes. Well, let's have a look at what we can do first. What happens if we only want 10 cupcakes? Let's do that first, then we'll do 40 cupcakes. Let's do 10 cupcakes first. I'm going to see what happens to each of these numbers. So I want to bake 10 cupcakes. What are we going to do for 10 cupcakes? Well, to bake 10 cupcakes, I have to half all of my ingredients. So we're going to look at ratios, okay? So to be able to get from 20 cupcakes to 10 cupcakes, what am I doing? I'm dividing everything by 2. Okay, so we're doing some division here. So we're going to do the same with all of these ingredients. So this is what I had before. This is what I'm going to have now. So I had 1.5 cups of flour. I want to divide that into 2. Now that's a bit more tricky. So I want to divide that 1 whole cup into half. So that's going to be half a cup. Let's draw the pictures. I think it's going to help if we draw the pictures. So I'm going to have my 2 cups. Now my first cup is full to the top. So I'm going to half it because we're dividing everything by 2. So we're going to have half a cup here. The second cup is already a half. So I want to divide this up again into a half. So I'm going to have a quarter now. So I've got half plus a quarter, which is going to give me 0.75. Now for some of you, this might be a bit too difficult, but we're going to go on to doubling in a second, and that's going to be a lot easier. Now, if I do 2 eggs now, this is going to be 2 eggs on this side. Now, if I half that and divide it by 2, I'm going to have 1 egg. If I have 1 cup of sugar, so what I'm going to do on this side now, 1 cup of sugar, this side, it becomes half a cup of sugar because I'm dividing by 2. Or half a cup is 0.5 cups. Okay? If I've got 50 grams of margarine, if I'm halving that, I'm dividing by 2. So that's going to become 25 grams of margarine. So to bake 10 cupcakes, I need 0.7 cups of flour, I need 1 egg, I need 0.5 cups of sugar, I need 25 grams of margarine. Okay, this might have been a bit too difficult for some of you. Let's see what happens if we have 40 cupcakes now. So 40 cupcakes should be a lot easier because we're just going to be multiplying everything by 2. Okay, so 40 cupcakes. If we want to bake 40 cupcakes, what's going to happen now? Let's have a look. So I had 20 cupcakes to start off with. Okay, now I'm going to have 40 cupcakes. So this is ratio 20 to 40. To get from here to here, I am multiplying by 2. I'm doubling everything by 2. Okay, so I've got 2 eggs. Let's write 2 eggs over here. Whatever I do to this side, I've got to do to the other side. So I have to do the same thing to each of my bits. So here I'm going to have 4 eggs now. Okay. Oops, I've missed out the cups of the flour. Let's do the cups of flour. I've got 1.5 cups of flour. I'm going to be timesing that by 2.
Okay, so everything's increasing by 2. So this is my ratio. It's going up by 2. So we're going to be doing, this is going to be 3 cups of flour now. Let's have a look at the sugar. I've got 1 cup of sugar. Now I'm going to be multiplying all of that by 2. So I'm going to be doubling it. So that becomes 2 cups of sugar. Now I've got margarine. I've got 50 grams of margarine. Okay, I'm going to be doubling all of that. So this becomes 100 grams of margarine. So this is how cooks are mathematicians, really, because they are learning how to deal with measurements and how to bake or cook for more people. So what you can do once you're done, you can draw for me what a lovely cupcake would look like. So are you going to be adding some icing on these cupcakes? Well, I'm going to be putting a cherry on mine. So I'm going to draw the cherry first. What are your cupcakes going to look like? How are they going to be decorated? Because if you are doubling the amount of cupcakes, you're going to have to double the amount of cherries that you guys have got. So where's my red? Can't find my red. I want to have a red cherry at the top. And then I'm going to have some yellow icing over here, I reckon. Let's have some yellow icing. Looks more like a muffin. Got a big, massive muffin. And this is my cupcake. So if I'm baking 10 cupcakes, I'm only going to need 10 cherries. If I'm baking 40 cupcakes, I'm going to need 40 cherries. If I'm baking 20 cupcakes, I'm going to need 20 cherries. Okay, so this is our session on ratios. It's a very quick one, and this might have been a bit more difficult for some of the younger kids, but you should be able to do the doubling, and you can practice ratios when you're helping your mum or your dad bake or cook in the kitchen by looking at the recipes and seeing what you'd have to do if you were cooking for double the amount of people or even half the amount of people. Now, all recipes don't always work like this. And sometimes the ratios will be slightly off. If you're cooking for double, you might have to add something a bit less. But this is a nice way of looking at a bit of maths. So we've got Sarah watching from London. Hi, guys. If you're watching live, thank you for tuning in. Tomorrow's session is going to be on science, and we're going to be looking at the sun. Okay, so we're going to look at the light waves coming from the sun and whether they're harmful or not. So again, if you want to tune in, it's going to be 3:30 tomorrow. And I'm going to be live at 3:30 looking at a science topic. And then the day after, we're going to be looking at art. So send in your submissions of your work by 6 p.m. today, and I'll be including that in the submissions video. And keep tuning in and keep watching these sessions. If you're interested in any of our camps, do reach out to me and let me know. So this is Learn with Sid every day, 3:30. Thank you, guys.